I think quite often when I do videos, it must sound like, oh wow, he's had massive armies and had great times all his life. That's not true. I'm not very well today, I've got a sore throat. Hence the sexy garbo croak. We were quite poor. I mean, we weren't dirt poor. We weren't running around in our bare feet. My granddad used to say when he was a kid, back in the First World War, that when they were hungry, they used to get a piece of string and go and stand behind the pie shop and smell the pie being baked and chew on the string and made them think they were having a pie. I don't think that's true. My granddad told a lot of what we might term tall tales. I had jobs. I had a paper round. That was a nightmare. There's a guy over the road. He had a paper round and he was leaving school. And the paper rounds were like gold dust. And if you got in queues, you could wait all year. 2 years. You could be a grandfather before you got your paper round. The list was so long. Anyway, I got Tony's paper round. And you'd think, oh, that's good. What I hadn't appreciated is, as a 14-year-old, I wasn't the world's best at getting up in the morning. I wasn't the world's best at getting up in the morning at 8 o'clock, which is when the latest I could possibly get up to get to school on time. So, having to get to the paper shop for 6:30 to deliver the papers was something of a chore. And I don't know what went wrong. They gave you a little sort of list of where to deliver your papers, and all the addresses were written on the top. Every single time I got them wrong. Every time. I got back to the paper shop and I had just major complaints over and over again. So the paper shop lady said in the end, she said, look, you're rubbish at this. This morning paper rounds got paid more money than evening. Evening ones weren't as big. No, you don't have to have an evening paper round. Which in retrospect was a second chance, which I didn't take. What I did was moan, cry, grumble, say I had homework to do, and let my poor old grandma do it, until in exasperation one day she threw the paper bag at me, told me to get up to the newspaper shop and resign. I was then told I had to get a Saturday job. I didn't want a Saturday job, I wanted to play. But I had to get a Saturday job. And in the absence of me finding one, I was found one at the tailor's, March the Tailor's. Turns out to be a great job. It was right opposite the stamp corner where they sold the soldiers, so I could pop down and look at soldiers, and when I got paid, I could buy some soldiers. However, I couldn't really afford many. I would say for a week, and that was only for a short period. That was maybe between 1973 and 74. Because 1975 I was going to college and I had a girlfriend and I had to save money for college and I had a girlfriend. You can see where this is going. And sometimes as I got older, like as a teenager, it was a question of, do you want to buy a Wings album, a Bebop Deluxe album that you've seen on Old Grey Whistle Test, or do you want some soldiers? And it a hard decision. I had to buy my own clothes. And I was beautiful. I was a model of sartorial elegance in my two-tone black and blue high-heeled boots. My lilac looms, flicked them like that, and the bottom went all uncovered your boots. And I had an old Vietnam War combat jacket I'd found in a junk shop, and a yellow scarf, long yellow scarf I wore, and I had a red T-shirt, and it was really tight, so it got to there, and then it went like that, wizard sleeves. So I was gorgeous, you know. But we didn't have big collections of figures. And quite often we had to make quite ruthless decisions to get the next ones. My Napoleonic Prussians all went when I started to collect fantasy, because I couldn't afford anything extra, and I needed a bit of a buy to get an army up and running. So I sold my Hinchcliffe Prussians, 25mm Prussians, and used the money to buy my first fantasy figures. And I never had more than sort of 4 of anything, apart from elves. I've got 10 elves. But this, what we can see here is about the size of my 1974-73 army. It wasn't huge, but in my mind, looking back, I was still having epic battles, and I can still remember some of the battles. I remember one that my middle brother and I had. He had his own army. We weren't averse to putting everybody on your side together, so I'd have Uruk-hai and elves and dwarfs and halflings and all on the same side. At the end of the game, because we didn't really do morale, we just fought to the last man. At the end of this game, he'd got 1 tree left. It wasn't an end, called it a huorn. It was like a sort of dead tree. I'd got 1 dwarf. And finally, I got a 6. And I bashed him. But we then said, there's a chance the tree might fall on this dwarf. So we threw a dice, and sure enough, the tree fell on the dwarf and squished him. And we had nobody left. We had a total wipeout. Played all night for no result. Something else I used to do, and I don't know, I'm not sure why I did it, because you always get the same result. I used to graph the casualties. So I'd make a graph, and I'd have all the time across at bottom, the number of men killed along the side, and the plot when people kill 3 men killed down. And then you draw a curve. And it's always the sort of same, because as the battle reaches a crescendo, it might be later or early, but it always goes, whoa! And there's lots of men get killed, and then there's not many left, so it goes, boom, 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 boom. It's that bell curve. Go on, somebody clever tell me it's that bell curve. Anyway, that's it for today. I didn't want to, I had a horrible feeling, it's all getting a bit lectury. I don't want to be lectury, you know. I just want to chat. Just tell you things and say hello. So that's what I've done. We only had little armies. We still had great fun. And when I look back, I don't think, oh my God, the deprivation, the horror. I look back and I think, wow, they were great battles. I didn't have a fraction of the stuff I've got now. Everything was made to amend. Is that why it felt better? It's got me thinking. Anyway, I'll go and have a think about that. You go and have your tea. Ta-da, Chuck.